you want to know which wide receivers you should have in your lineup to help you win fantasy football week 9? Stay tuned to find out. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you're done. Chris, talk about wide receivers that have to be in your lineup. These guys could be game changers. We got some guys still on bye. Some guys aren't going to suit up because of various reasons, such as COVID. That's just 2020 for you.
Yeah, you're right about that. It is 2020 for you. What a year. But these guys will be playing, should be playing. You never know in this year. And they will definitely help you win. And I'm going to start with my first wide receiver, and that's Stefon Diggs of the Buffalo Bills. Going against the Seahawks, I pretty much feel like I could just end my analysis there. I know Diggs started off the year incredibly, has definitely slowed down of late. He's still been good. He just hasn't put up those monster games, but either has Josh Allen in this offense. But that should all change this week against Seattle, who, even though Jimmy Garoppolo did his best to make the Seattle defense actually look good, they still are the worst defense against wide receivers. And it's not really even that close to the Vikings, right? They're still giving up 270 yards per game to wide receivers. No, only the Falcons give up over 200 yards per game, and they only give up 211. So no reason why Diggs, and even John Brown to a lesser extent, but especially Diggs, he should have a monster week. Lock him in as a wide receiver 1, no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Any wide receiver against Seattle. So another defense that is highly susceptible to the pass and, well, pretty much everything these days is Jacksonville. So you still got your full complement of Texans receivers to choose from. Nobody got traded, but Brandin Cooks is the guy I'm definitely putting in my lineup. I know Will Fuller's still a top option there, but the last time these teams played, Brandin Cooks had his season best, Texans best, 161 yards. And is it not just that one game? His last 3 games before the bye, he had 8, 9, and 7 receptions. So he has been on fire. He's pretty much a must start across any format, especially in PPR. And again, this game could get out of hand really early with Jacksonville going with a backup quarterback. So, I mean, you got to start Cooks. You got to start Fuller. You could probably start Randall Cobb too and be happy.
Yeah, I really like Brandin Cooks. I talked about him in my top 5 buy low wide receivers. I really like him rest of the season. I love him in this matchup. My next must start is, it's either Jerry Jeudy or Tim Patrick, or maybe both. It depends if Tim Patrick plays this week or not. I know he missed last week. But going against the Falcons, I just talked about him. Second, the only other team other than Seattle who's given up over 200 yards to wide receivers, given up the 4th most fantasy points to wide receivers. And, Drew Lock, for as bad as he started games, he's finished them strong lately. And I expect Lock to have a big game as well this week, which should be good for both Jeudy and Tim Patrick. Obviously, if Tim Patrick is in the lineup, I prefer him. Still think Judy's a good play, though. And if Patrick is not in the lineup, then Jeudy himself becomes a must start.
Yeah, I've been high on Tim Patrick all season long. Haven't heard any injury designation. Of course, we're not toward the weekend yet, but I definitely would fire at Patrick if he's in the lineup. And then Jeudy might be a good play too. Drew Lock isn't the most exciting quarterback, but he's been catching on lately, so keep an eye out there. My next must start, I'm going to go with Chase Claypool. This is almost more of a gut feel. Juju finally kind of came back to life last weekend. He's going to get probably more targets, but Claypool is more the big play threat, right? He's got the bigger depth of target here. Juju's been used more in the short intermediate routes. He's not stretching the field. So if you want somebody who can have a big week, I like Claypool. He also has a better matchup as far as the cornerback wide receiver matchup. So I'm going to go with Claypool. I have him almost creeping up into my top 20 overall receivers. You still definitely can play Juju. Deontay Johnson, if you think that he won't get hurt again. I'm a little wary there just every week. But, yeah, I definitely like Claypool the best of the bunch this weekend.
Yeah, Claypool's still been involved even when Deontay Johnson has been out there. And they get him involved even on the ground. And against Dallas, you got to start him against Dallas. I agree. And then my final must start is my other boy, Terry McLaurin from the football team. Going up against the Giants. When these teams met a few weeks ago, he caught 7 passes for 74 yards. I expect him to do something similar this week. Could certainly find the end zone. It seems like Kyle Allen is getting, I don't want to say he's getting into a groove. He's still turning the ball over and making dumb plays, but he's finding receivers. He's putting together some drives, and McLaurin's going to be the big benefit of that. Going against the Giants shouldn't be an issue for him. Lock him in. I expect a monster week.
Yeah, I think Scary Terry at this point is quarterback proof and matchup proof. I mean, he's just locked in every week. And then the Giants shouldn't really scare you away. There's really no reason. But yeah, just imagine, Chris, especially as a Washington football fan, when they have their next franchise quarterback, what Terry could do. All right, let's go on to my last must start here is a guy a little farther down the radar. Of course, you're starting Allen Robinson, but Darnell Mooney is coming on quietly. You don't realize that he's been getting at least 5 targets in each of the past 6 games. Finally scored last week, got in the end zone. This is a guy who's been more involved in the offense. Like I said, Tennessee has been giving up a lot of points to the passing game, bottom 5 pass defense. And I know they just added a piece with Desmond King. He's not going to get Mooney, right? He's going to go in the slot to cover Anthony Miller. So when Allen Robinson gets a lot of the attention on the outside, he's actually going to get the best matchup here going against Jonathan Joseph. I like Darnell Mooney, honestly, rest of the season, but this is definitely a week where he could see just as much action as he's been getting.
Yeah, I really like Mooney. If he is somehow still on your waiver wire, go grab him right now. And like you said, in this matchup, you got to start him.
All right, so let's talk about our must-sits. Some guys here that are very fringe starters on your flex. This week, you probably want to keep them on the bench based on matchups. And start, Chris, your first one is somebody who's kind of fallen out of favor here last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm going the opposite side of Terry McLaurin, and that's Darius Slayton from the Giants. He only has 9 catches over the last 3 games. Washington's defense, for as bad as Washington is, their defense is very good. And when these teams met in week 6, he only had 2 catches for 41 yards. He did catch a touchdown that day to kind of save his day, and he always has a chance to catch a touchdown. But if he doesn't, I can't see him getting very much in this game at all. This offense is not good. It's not getting better. And Slayton, especially with Shepard back, is not getting the target share we saw earlier in the year. So I would be benching Darius Slayton this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious ever since Shepard did come back, he's been the main target. Slayton is kind of fallen by the wayside. He's not disappearing. And there will be some matchups where you can play him. This just happens to not be one, especially if Kendall Fuller is on him. So I'll go with a guy who at first, well, it's a little up in the air at this point, looked like he might be a strong flex, Marvin Jones, because Kenny Golladay is out officially for week 9. We don't know what's up with Matthew Stafford. Right now he's on the reserve/COVID list because of a close contact. We were just talking about this. He's, I don't know, 50-50 up in the air. He might play this weekend. He might not. But you know what? Even if he does wind up playing, Marvin Jones, what did he show when Kenny Golladay was out the first 2 weeks? Not much. He had been kind of coming on lately. He's actually reached the end zone. But again, when he's the focal point, he just hasn't shown. He's going to get the other team's best cover corner in Minnesota. They don't really have good cover corners, but still, I just expect this game to be kind of a dud, low-scoring game between division rivals. That tends to happen sometimes. So I'm not going to plug in Jones just because Galladay's out, especially if there's any question that Stafford isn't going to play or if he's missing practice. Sorry, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, without Matthew Stafford there, you got to downgrade all the receivers. I don't think you could start any Detroit receiver. We're looking at Chase Daniels as the probable starter. No, thank you. So I agree with you. And then my final must sit, well, I don't even know how many must sits it is because it seems like this is a revolving door, but it's whatever Colts wide receivers play this week, whether that's T.Y. Hilton, Zach Pascal. I don't care. I want no part of any of these receivers. Phillip Rivers spreads the ball around to the tight ends, to Nyheim Hines out of the backfield. Just doesn't give the receivers, even T.Y. Hilton, enough volume to make them fantasy relevant. And if that's not enough for you, if you're thinking about maybe plugging in T.Y. Hilton if he's healthy or Zach Pascal if he's out, they've got the Ravens this week, who, by the way, are the 6th toughest defense against wide receivers. No thank you there. I'm out on the Colts wide receivers completely. I don't care who it is. Don't drop a comment asking me if you should play a Colts wide receiver, because the answer is no.
No. They got 3 running backs they give the ball to. They got 3 tight ends they throw the ball to. They have like 7 receivers they spread the ball around. None of them will probably help you in fantasy consistently. And then it's really sad to say, but CeeDee Lamb had so much hope going into the year. I don't think you can start him anymore. Who's the quarterback this week for Dallas? Cooper Rush, I think. It's not Ben DiNucci. So we're going lower than that. The 4th quarterback. I mean, you just can't. You know what? He had a big goose egg 2 weeks ago, 4 catches for 27 yards last week. Now we're going to the next, hopefully last resort here. You just can't do it. I'm out. If I have Lamb, I got to bench him and hope for somebody else to fill that void.
Yep. Totally agree with you there. Yeah. Cooper's tough to sit, but Lamb, I think you can definitely put him on your bench.
All right. Well, hopefully that helped. Chris did mention we're going to answer some of your questions. Leave a comment here if you have a question about any receiver we didn't talk about. And of course, every Sunday morning, 2 hours before kickoff, we help you with all these last-minute lineup decisions. Things change constantly every single day. So you want the latest advice, and we're here to help you with it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. If you like what you see, we're here to help you win. All right. Thanks for watching.